The Goldbridge Saves Football podcast. We're live for our Premier League preview, and oh my God, have we got a big show for you. Arsenal Spurs is the big game of the weekend. Could it be Ten Hag's last game? Man City finally facing consequences, and also some massive ins. Ronaldo calling, indirectly or directly, Shearer and Lineker a couple of rats. Some might say we're a couple of rats, Will.
Yeah, I do look like a rat, especially with this tail. It's the back of my head. It's called a mullet. Looking forward to chatting about people getting podcasts. So many pundits with podcasts. There's enough peas to shake a pea at. I can't believe it. And I'm just excited to see where we go, because you've got opinions. They're strong, but you're still trying to say football.
Well, I want to get into it straight away. We've got our Super 6 to talk about as well. Don't forget, links in the description for that. Get involved in our Super 6. The code is that6, and you can be playing against us. But I want to start, well, we're going to talk about the London Derby. We've got loads to talk about. Get your comments in. Pratt, Emmanuel Pretty, or as some say, Emmanuel Petty, very petty what he's done. So basically he's come out and said, only one Spurs player gets in to an Arsenal Spurs combined 11. I hate this level of punditry. I'm an ex-player. Listen to me, be a Pratt. I'm not an ex-player and I'm not a Pratt. I was being sarcastic. But I don't even need to think about this, Will, and I can put 3 Spurs players into a combined 11 straight away. Van der Ven, Udogie, Son. And I'm not even started to think about other positions, so he's wrong 3-1 straight away.
Well, no, I think that's quite controversial, putting Van der Ven over a back partnership there of Gabriel and Saliba.
Come on.
But no, I think when you're looking, we were looking at a Tim Sherwood combined 11, and when Tim Sherwood makes you look like you're wrong, that's when Emmanuel Petit really is in the dog mess, isn't he? Because yeah, I think it's come out. He's trying to maybe win back the fans of the Arsenal, and he's just said it for. Yeah, they love me, they adore me, but just calm down a little bit.
Good name, good player, good hair.
Very good hair, yeah.
Crap opinions. I mean, that is a joke. Get us in the comments. I mean, look, even Arsenal fans, you're a good team, but Van der Ven, Udogie, straight into that back four. Gabriel's done well, but I'd put Van der Ven ahead of him. And Son's got to be in the team. Anybody
Maddison?
else? No.
No? Not even in that midfield 3?
I do think there's a case for a Spurs player to go into the midfield 3, because I'm always going to go Rice and Odegaard, but the third midfielder for Arsenal is a vulnerable position. So you could, I think Maddison would make it 2 attacking, maybe Sarr, maybe Bentancur, maybe Bissouma.
No, I don't think so. I think Maddison.
Well, who's Arsenal's third midfielder? Jorginho? Partey?
I think on his day, Maddison.
Yeah, but no one else is going to get in.
Heung-min Son up front, I think you mentioned
Porro or
him.
White?
I'd go Porro just because he's more of an attacking right back.
Petit, you're getting absolutely hammered here. Oh, his own. Oh,
some people would
think. Uno in the Spurs Arsenal combination.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Emmanuel Pretty. Un de trois, un Spurs player.
Quatre. That's 4.
Yeah,
there's 4. We put 4 in there.
Merd.
Anyway,
that's shit.
Let's talk about fromage frais, jambon.
Ça va?
La plage.
Quelle est la date de ton anniversaire?
No. Anyway,
bonjour.
That's my thoughts on that. Let's get into Arsenal against Spurs first of all, and let's get into our Super 6, because I tell you what, before the international break, we had a £1 million winner. Well done. I bet he's had a good international break.
Oh, yeah.
For the things he's been up to. But, ultimately, that was 6 correct scores. So it's a brand new game. It's free to play. Scan the QR code next to me or go through the link in the description. The jackpot is reset, but it's 250k starting off. 6 correct scores will win you that money. But you can play against us as well in the That's Football official Super 6 League. 6 fixtures, including the North London Derby, actually. I'll tell you what I've gone for in a moment. That's 6 is our code. Play against us. Play against the viewers. We give a weekly prize, a £100 voucher for classic football shirts. So get involved with that. It's more than just pride. It's enjoyable. And links in the description. Give it a go. Free to play as well, Will. What are you going to go for Arsenal against Spurs at Spurs?
I've been back and forth on it. It's at Spurs. Arsenal need to do it for the title race. Spurs obviously have the pressure with Rice and Odegaard out of the team going forward. So I've just been going a bit back and forth. I've been listening to Flav this morning. Obviously, he's a big Spurs fan, talking about the sort of pressure mounting on Big Ange, but basically just saying that he's had this at every club in the exact same instance. So like when he was at Yokohama Marinos, he had the same pressure in the J League. When he was at Celtic, the same sort of, it's the same stories that come out about him every single time, and he's weathered those storms. So
What, the ones about the dog?
steady on now, you. Hey, you had a couple of flirtinis last night, didn't
No,
you?
I don't know what the story is.
No, just
Like
about
a bit of pressure.
The pressure being labelled him and against him and being saying like, you need to change your style now because this isn't working. But he's had that exact same thing labelled at him every time, and he's weathered the storm and had great success. So stick with him, Spurs fans. But when it comes to this game, Super 6, I've gone 1-1, which is very boring and very like me to sit on the fence.
Yeah.
Both teams to score, so that's a little bit of fun. But yeah, the Odegaard Rice big to not be playing. But I just think, me and Niall saying, they need to get a positive result if they're going to win the league. And I think they've changed their mindset.
What I love about this fixture is that, viewers of That's Football YouTube channel will know I love a crisis when it's got a team name in front of it and an in. So I love Chelsea in crisis as a video, or Arsenal in crisis, or Ange in crisis. And I think the draw wouldn't help me with that.
No.
But Arsenal lose this, drop points against Brighton, Man City coming up next weekend. I'm sensing an Arsenal in crisis video Monday morning.
Title Rick, come on.
Spurs lose, 4 points from 12. I'm sensing Spurs in crisis. So a draw is not what helps me, Will.
Yeah, and someone who hoping that Spurs aren't in crisis is the Spurs where he's dropped a donation. He says Salanki at striker, Romero at centre-back, and Son VDV Porro.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm going to go with Arsenal to win this game. I think a lot of people are going for Spurs. I understand it. They have played very, very well at the start of this season, but they haven't taken the points. But what we must remember is that Arsenal, defensively, have the best defence from the Premier League last season. And in a game like this, they haven't got any injuries to their defence. Declan Rice is a loss because of that ridiculous red card, and Odegaard unlucky with the injury. But I still think that I think they'll set themselves up defensively well, which is their strength. And then on the break, you've got people like Havertz, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Sterling. Dare I say Sterling? I do. He could be an impactful player as well. So I think that they've got goals in them, Arsenal. I think a draw is a good idea, but I'm going to go with an Arsenal win, and I'm going to go probably 2-1.
Let's get down there. It's a draw. What I was thinking, though, in terms of the players to lose, they are big key players. But when you're playing against Spurs, as a collective, I'd probably say the midfield for Spurs is probably their weakest in terms of like the quality. So if you are bringing in Jorginho, and then I've seen like starting 11s with Trossard playing in the 10, like that is obviously a weaker 11 than you'd expect. But going against Spurs, where that midfield area, as a 3-for-3, I don't think they're losing out too much quality. So as much as we're talking up Spurs for this game, if we're looking at an Arsenal side that really have to bounce back, and you can't use Rice and Odegaard as an excuse if you want to be title contenders that are Man City. And we want that, don't we? Because we don't want Man City to beat Brentford at home 4-0 and then go Sunday and Spurs take points off Arsenal. That would be boring.
Yeah, look, I think I think a draw is probably the worst result, because it sort of just, levels it for, okay, we move on.
It's not bad, it's not great, it's nothing.
Whereas I think a win is obviously great for the team that wins, and a loss is bad for the team that loses. And that's straight out of the Michael Owen book.
And that's football.
And that's football. But no, I mean, I do think that the loser is in a bit... What?
Just the way you go down this road.
The loser is in a bit of trouble.
and the winner
is in a bit of... No, but I do genuinely think it's got a lot on it, because I'm trying to take myself out.
I think if the winner wins, he probably would be looking at 3 points.
I've heard 3 points is what you get.
And the loser could walk away with nothing.
But no, you know what I mean? We were talking about Ange and Ten Hag, weren't we, on Monday, and how they're the two managers that sort of seem to have the biggest pressure with Sean Dyche. And if they don't... If Ange was to lose, it would be a weird situation, because there's nothing unexpected about Arsenal coming to Spurs and giving them a tough game, and yet he'd only have 4 points from 12, and they have played good football. So the stakes are high. I can see all three results here as well. Genuinely, I mean, I think Man City's game at the weekend against Brentford, you can only see one result. I can see 3 results here, and I think it's the international break plays a big part as well,
because of the injuries.
Also the rhythm. Arsenal, you never know what you're going to get, but I do think the Arsenal defence is going to be key to that one.
Obviously, we always look at VAR and referees. Do you know, Mark, a little tidbit for you, that Arsenal against Tottenham is the fixture to have the most penalties awarded in the entire Premier League history?
Who's the ref for this game?
It's the Australian one, Jared
Gillay.
Yeah, Jared Gillay, who Arsenal fans weren't happy with last season, as he disallowed a late Havertz goal against Villa. Well, I think rightly so, but they're still not happy with that.
Okay, so let us know what your thoughts are. Will's gone for a draw. I'm going to go for an Arsenal win, but a lot of people going for a Spurs win in that one. And you know what? You could be right. It's one of 3 outcomes that are actually possible.
Yep, super chat's absolutely pouring in. Tanish, thank you very much for your donation. He says Spurs conceded 60 goals last season for a reason. VDV can't stay fit for more than 5 games, and the fullbacks can't defend. Bentancur, Son to get in a joint team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you know, I think Arsenal's defence was the only defence to concede less than 30 goals in the Premier League last year. And as we know, Spurs do play that high line. And I think if Arsenal defend well, that's why I think they'll win the game. Because if they defend well, they've got that brilliant pace on the attack and to counter. And I think the first goal in this game, I know it's a cliche, but I think the first goal in this game is massive, because if Arsenal were to score away from home, you know, that crowd, the heads drop a little bit. Whereas if they score first, I think the crowd goes the other way. It's a North London derby. So first goal will be key in this game. And
more so than ever, I think, and highlighted probably by the fact that Arteta's just signed his new deal. In the last decade, this feels like the most like Arsenal team in terms of like, right, you've got those 2 pieces going out, but it should be very easy because of the way that they've been playing to fit those new 2 pieces in. And with Spurs, I still think they're looking for that, because they just seem, especially with the midfield area that they speak about. So I still think Arsenal can capitalise. I do agree with Andrew Gibson saying Raheem masterclass incoming. I would keep an eye out for Sterling. It's been an interesting signing, but apparently he was raring to go for Chelsea and very fit. So, you know, he's had an international break. That could be an absolute scoop of a signing, and he's got experience, and it can. I was talking about this on the United stand this morning about whether United or Arsenal or Liverpool should go for Rabiot in this unique situation where he's a free transfer, and it's sort of like, well, yeah, there are issues with it, but if you're offered nothing or something, most of the time it's worth going for the something, and that's how I think Arsenal and Sterling is. It was nothing or Sterling, and you take Sterling on transfer deadline day, it can only really be a positive. And what's the thing that we always label against Manchester City, isn't it? It's just the depth and quality that they've got. So like Rodri's not played a Premier League minute this season, or not started, and they can do that and not suffer. So like having a Sterling as part of an Arsenal squad is only beneficial to people like us who don't want Man City to win the league. Great to have such a big game as well. The international break, for me, there's irreparable damage done here. I mean, we're all excited to have it back, but I've experienced this over many years. You have the start to the Premier League, you're very excited, and then you have the international break. You come back, and it's almost like you lose. You never get that enthusiasm back. It's like, it's still great to have it back, but it's sort of popped by an irrelevant international break. So to have a North London derby, because some of the other games are a little bit... well, Man City and Liverpool are going to win. Home bankers there. Yeah. What is it? Forest for Liverpool, and Man City have got Brentford at home. So absolutely nailed on. Villa Everton. Pep rang me up and said, "Do you fancy a game up front? Yeah. Just to rest Haaland." That's how confident he is. You've got a dodgy groin now, haven't you? Yeah. And also, I was going to follow up with a joke, but I just won't bother. About your groin. Yeah, just leave the groin alone. And but no, I want to talk another cracking game, and it's a difficult game in the sense that it's Manchester United at Southampton at 12:30 away on the south coast, and Man United have lost 2 from 3. Some people saying it has the potential to be Erik Ten Hag's last match in charge. Some people outraged by this. Some people outraged that it hasn't happened already. How do you read that situation? Let's say Man United lose in some way, shape or form. Do you think Ineos are pulling Ten Hag out? Shake it all about the job. Yeah, he might lose on purpose if he's going to get that. Exactly. Yeah, what a little treat that is. No, I think we were looking at it this morning, and we were speaking about last night, weren't we, in the pub? The more you look into that Southampton team coming into the Premier League, committing to the way that they play with the amount of possession, the amount of passes, and doing nothing with it. Like, we just watched the highlights for the Brentford game. I mean, I've seen people charged with different betting offences. It looks like Southampton were trying to throw the game. Like, they were all over the place, trying to pass out from the back for no reason at all apart from philosophy, which, like, this philosophy should, let's get our most positive point. So if Man United can't beat this Southampton side, which Russell Martin doesn't seem flexible to be changing, like, I would sack Ten Hag on the spot. Because if, honestly, like, you probably would get a game in this and be able to beat Southampton, because they just need... I don't know what it is. I don't know if Russell Martin has to stick with this strategy, but he needs to change it. The guy in the commentary was like, "Oh, something needs to change," and I looked at, no, I was like, it's the 3rd game, and like, we all know it needs to change. So yeah, you have to win.
There is something about Southampton that is very odd in the sense that they're averaging over 600 passes a game, which is a lot. 65% possession, which is a lot, and they're absolutely getting battered by most teams. I mean, I think they played their only home game was Forest, who had 30% possession but had 20 shots. It's just weird. There's something really weird. So I'm looking forward to the game in that sense. But on the other hand, the way that they play, if it clicks and United are bad, then it could be problematic. But that would be really bad, according to Will.
Yeah, that would be on you. That wouldn't be a Southampton masterclass.
Personally.
Yeah, that would be on you personally, as everything is related to Manchester United. I think they just... it comes a point when you look out there and you're agreeing with Big Sam. I saw him on Under the Cosh and he was like, why are these teams playing out from the back when they can't handle the pressure? And he's right. Like, they just need to change. Like, you need to be flexible coming up as a Premier League team. And there's so many examples where we've seen it, where attacking sides come from the Championship, don't change. Vincent Kompany, Burnley, maybe he wants to buy him. Maybe he'll be the Dortmund manager or something. But yeah, ridiculous.
I feel like a kid on Christmas Eve, to be honest. The international break is over. The wait is over. Man United are playing tomorrow morning, basically, technically 12:30. And I know at 3:00 tomorrow, I'm either going to be really happy or really disappointed, and a draw would leave me disappointed. A draw's not good enough, so it
has to be a 2-3. It has to be a 2 or 3-0.
I agree, and I think a lot of people are saying if Man United were to lose, Ineos won't panic and push the button. But I think it's one of those sort of games where you'd have lost 3 of your first 4 against the worst team in the league. I think there would be I don't know which way they'll go, so I'm not going to be sensationalist and say they'll definitely sack him, but there would certainly be a huge clamour for it. And I think more importantly, it's not even if we lost to Southampton he'd get sacked immediately. There is also something we all know in football, which is the road to the sack, and it'd be hard to see him.
The players coming out.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see him coming back from that.
But also, unless he changes drastically what he's going to do, Russell Martin at Southampton, it's like Arne Slot when he was breaking down how he broke down Manchester United at Old Trafford, isn't it? Ten Hag knows how Southampton are going to play. So if he can't work out a way to beat them, that just really shows his coaching vulnerabilities, especially at that level from top to bottom.
Yeah, 100%. Let us know what your thoughts are on that. I'm going to go with Man United. Which is not on the Super 6, actually, thank God, because I've got no idea what the score will be. But I'm going to go, because it needs to happen, I'm actually not going to go with 3-0. I think it'll be 2-0 United.
I'm going to go Man United 4. Southampton 0, Man United 4.
I'd love it. I will bloody love that.
You generally do look nervous.
Yeah, because I just think that...
You sound nervous.
I think that the way the fan base is at the moment, and I'm sure there's other fans of other clubs watching, and it's a bit like Chelsea Bournemouth, which I wanted to mention as well, like tomorrow. I think that for me as a United fan, I'm sort of looking at it and knowing at 3:00 tomorrow I can predict where it goes. Like if it's a 4-0 win, it just keeps everyone off our back for a little bit. It's not over, but it keeps them off. Crystal Palace away next week's tough, but if we lose, it's a weekend of just holding back the tide, and you've got a decision to make then as well, because you can sit there and go, leave Ten Hag alone fighting against the masses, or you can actually go, oh, you know what? I sort of agree.
I think season starts now for him, like especially if it goes wrong, like both ways it can go in that. But also, like if you are to win 4-0, especially with Man United, just because of the amount of noise around them, sometimes it goes too far the other way.
Yeah.
It's like,
we'll be winning the league as well.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it before. The toxic positivity is just as bad as the negativity at times. There are people out there who that's modern football for you, isn't it? But talking about modern football, Chelsea, from one crisis to another, I actually thought they looked after that Wolves game like they might actually start to show a bit of rhythm. Obviously, they drew at home to Crystal Palace. They've got the ownership that we were talking about earlier in the week. And Bournemouth away at 8:00 on a Saturday. I don't like the 8:00 games. I know a lot of people living around the world do, because it's a better kick-off time. But 8:00 on a Saturday night, whether it's United or whether it's not United, it's just not what I want to be doing at 8:00 on a Saturday night. And I don't think it's probably the sort of game that Chelsea... Well, I reckon Chelsea might go and win that 3 or 4-0 again, just because they're just so unpredictable.
Well, yeah, it is unpredictable, but I have predicted a result on my Super 6. I've gone Bournemouth 3-1 on that.
Ooh.
I just think more and more, like we speak about how negatively Southampton, the coach, can affect them. At Bournemouth, he's sort of not going under the radar, but because of the size of the club maybe, and people, especially this week with everyone talking about Barkley's men and all that nostalgia, like people don't like Bournemouth in the Premier League. But so I think that's why he goes under the radar. But you go head to head on a coach perspective, I think he's by far the better coach.
Who would you get in the chat on this one? Who would you relegate if you had the power today? If someone said, we'll relegate this team and replace them with any team you want, not Birmingham, because they're in League One. It's got to be from the Championship. Who would you relegate if you had that power now? Yeah.
Brentford.
We could have relegated Villa. That'd be a bit bitter, though. And you are bitter.
Maybe technically I can't because they're in the Champions League. So yeah. I know I'd just Brentford.
Yeah, obviously I don't like Liverpool. I don't like Man City. Leave it to the Premier League to relegate City, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think logically, I understand why people would like to relegate Bournemouth because their ground is so small. But in a footballing sense, they're not too bad. I would probably relegate... Oh, God, you're going to offend whoever you do this.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. You're turning into me. Get off the phones.
No, I'm just trying to think. Come on. Who do I not like in the Premier League that I would just relegate?
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Everton got the problem with me. No, not the other way around.
People saying Forest, Ipswich, bring Leeds up, Tottenham. I think it's got to be one of the.
I've not thought this through.
Well, just say a team. God, for a man who lives and dies on opinion, you're absolutely struggling. You rat. I'm gonna relegate Leicester. Oh God, that's piss poor from you. That. I'm gonna relegate Leicester. Oh God, get that clipped up. Bloody hell, that's gonna go viral. It took me long enough. Yeah, but I can't. All right. Well, I'm gonna relegate bloody Man City. Oh, you can't say that. I can. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Robert McCormack says Areola's done a cracking job with that squad. He has done. Jack Butler says, hi guys, broke my arm a couple of weeks ago. Been stuck at home feeling bored. Thanks for all the content keeping me sane. Use the other one. What? If you sat at home, broken arm, feeling bored, you've got two arms, mate. But yeah, you're going to go with the Bournemouth win. I'm going to go with a Chelsea win. We'll see what happens with that on the review show on Monday. Let's quickly talk about Manchester City because we don't have the power to relegate Man City. Who would I get promoted? Sheffield Wednesday. I would promote them. There's just an old school team I'd love to see back in the Prem. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Man City starts on Monday. We'll be there. It's live. Yeah. Will's going to be outside. I've got a press pass. It's an independent review and it's going to run for a few months. It's not publicly open, so there won't really be daily stuff. Or so you thought. Will will be there outside every day trying to get the scoop on what is happening. Well, I've not told you this, actually. Go on. I shouldn't say this, but obviously keep it under your hat to everyone watching. I've actually been put on the jury. So don't tell anyone. But they haven't got a jury for this, I don't think. It's a panel. And you have to be qualified. Oh, they have. They're fucked. So is there a brown envelope? Let's just say I can't do the show on Monday, but I will be sending updates to Mark. Well, basically, Will's going to be there off his phone and off his tits. And he's going to basically be filming outside the independent panel when everybody comes out at the end of the day. We'll be live for this and I'll be giving a running commentary with Will. So when we see the big lawyers walking out for Man City, Will's going to turn the camera onto them and I'm going to give an opinion on what's gone on in the day because we won't know because it's a closed doors thing. So if the head lawyer walks out for Man City and he's in a rush, I will be saying things like, oh, he's panicking. He's panicking. He might be going for a taxi, or I'm thinking relegated for 10 years with a £50 million fine. Yeah. Oh, he's dropped his briefcase. Papers out. Yeah. There's an egg and cress sandwich there. What does that mean? Yeah. Is he gassy? Or Premier League come out and they've got a big smile on their face. Definitely banned for life. Just Premier League walking out, just going like this. Send them to the Welsh League. That's what I say. That's a good football. I've been watching a lot of Football Manager, different challenges, and that would be a great one, wouldn't it? There is a bigger conversation here, though. Just look, apparently 115 is 130 as well. Yeah, well, you get a community note on that. Yeah, and how mad's that? Like that's just not being reported. I think I read something about it this morning. So 115 for Man City is actually 130, and the reason for this is it was always 130, but it was released
by mistake by the Premier League that it was 115, and then fans being fans quite liked the number 115, so we use 115, but actually it's 130. We must talk about it just for a moment, just because it is such a big thing in football, but ultimately, it starts on Monday. It's going to run probably till just before Christmas. Then they reckon there's going to be a bit of a review period. So we might not find out till March. And then even if City get found guilty, they will probably appeal. So it's the start of a process that's been going on for a very long time, but it's the official start of it. I think the only thing I would say is that, look, guilty, not guilty, there are parameters there, obviously. But if they are found guilty, the more I think about it, is the more I think about the very fabric of football being destroyed, and, you know, the repercussions of that, because Arsenal over the last 2 years would say we would have had 2 titles. Liverpool will say it. Even Man United finished second twice. So it's just the last 10 years of football, and the integrity of it is completely and utterly up for discussion, isn't it? Yeah. And further to that, if they don't get found guilty, I still think there's a lot of people out there, because the charges are very much public. You sort of go, come on.
Yeah. And also with that as well, you mentioned the people that have been affected for the last 10 years. It's also affected everything going forward for the next 10 years because of the rule changes to financial fair play and everything with the PRS. You have to look at Newcastle, who've got this abundance of wealth, and because of what's gone on before with Manchester City, ultimately, that's changed the rules and they can't spend it. Now, would we want Newcastle dominating the league? But, you know, how often do we sit here and speak about Aston Villa getting the Champions League, can't be spending their money? So their actions have just not only changed the course of the actual history of the Premier League, but are changing the futures of it as well. So we laugh and jest about it because it goes on for so long. But, like, this is the Premier League need to get this right, don't they? Like, it needs to be sorted this season.
I think if Man City get found not guilty, fine. You know, you can't control these things, and hopefully the evidence will prove them not guilty if they are not guilty, and leave, you know, no uncertainty, because that doesn't help anybody.
No.
But if they do get found not guilty, my opinion is that they should change FFP and PSR and basically just say to Newcastle, go for it. Fill your boots.
Well,
because otherwise, Man City will dominate football easily for the next decade, because they've got the revenue and they've got the PSR and they are compliant, and no one else can deal with them anyway. So if Man City get found not guilty, the Premier League is screwed in relation to a competitive sport, because Man City are so good. I think you've got to say to the Newcastles and anybody else in the Villas, just spend what you like.
Well, but also, a friend of the show, Gary Neville, I think what he speaks about when he says so rightly about if that money is there, and I don't know the intricacies of it, but that can be put into a trust. So it's basically like, you say you're going to spend $1 billion and that $1 billion gets taken off you. Like that, I think that's the perfect way to deal with it, because, you know, we've had owners, people have come in who've said they're going to spend money and can't do it, and you end up being bankrupt. But if that money is safeguarded, it's fine.
I'm just laughing about the current camera shot on the YouTube where it says this is huge, and it's sort of like, if you line it up with roughly around my midriff, this is huge. I mean, look, there's nothing to say, and there is a big silver thing there. Anyway, I completely was laughing about that and not listening to what Gary Neville had to say.
No, fine. Probably perfect timing for you.
Probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. You were going to bring this in anyway about
yes.
Do you want to do the either or? Do you want to go to that? He's getting it. Do the yes. You're excited. You went yes.
Yeah. So Gary, right, get this right. So Gary Neville's got a new podcast coming out.
Another one?
Which no, I don't believe it. So Gary Neville's got a podcast coming out just in America.
Martin Tyler's got one.
Martin Tyler's
Saka
got one.
I am back. I mean, we are a podcast and we don't mind talking about others. We're not offended.
Just competition is healthy.
Yeah, but
sort of raises our game.
Put your head above the parapet like one of those moles, get smashed. You know that game where them moles keep popping up and you bang them? Another podcast, another one. We've got to smash them as well.
Yeah, lovely stuff. So Gary Neville, who I like.
I love him.
No, I do like him.
No, I love him as a
no, but don't say that.
As a player.
No, I like Gary Neville.
Legend as a player.
I like Gary Neville as a pundit.
I always say to Neville, what a legend as a player.
I like Gary Neville. So
I like Gary Neville as a player.
Yeah, I like Gary Neville as a player and a pundit.
Still a player, apparently. Nah, no way. Absolutely not. I would be stunned.
No, yeah.
If there's one person I think there's never going to get any of those stories, it's Gary.
Right. And Phil. Right, let's move on quickly. Yeah. Gary Neville's got loads.
Straight as a die.
Yeah, Gary Neville's got lots of.
I mean, like what they walk a straight line, nothing to do with that sort of thing. I mean, just like dependable.
Yeah.
Beige.
Right. Gary
I'm off home. I've had my Diet Coke. I'm not going to the club. I've got to be up at 4.
Right, forget it. Either or.
Go on.
No, Gary Neville's got a brand new podcast out. It's out in America. I think it's to do with NBC. But as you well know, Gary has got multiple podcasts out now. So I wanted to do a little sort of reminder, because I'm a big Gary Neville fan, even though I do work with you, Steady. And I wanted to do this so you could all remember it. So here it is, everybody. So you can just remember when Gary Neville's on each week.
Yeah, go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Gary Neville podcast on a Monday, stick to football on a Tuesday. It's called soccer on Wednesday, no Thursday, no Friday, Sky on Saturday, maybe Sunday. Gary Neville podcast on come on now on Monday, come on.
That we can cut that out, can't we?
I'll cut that. That'll be a clip. That's good
I'll
though.
tell you what though, on a serious note, I do feel a bit sorry for the Americans watching this show. Nothing to do with your next president. This is about this new podcast called It's Not Soccer, or
It's Called Soccer.
It's Called Soccer. Neville Carragher and a presenter. I get so many people on the United Stand on That's Football Watch Along saying, Mark, the coverage in America is so bad. It's terrible. And, you know, you see Craig Burley and Steve Nicol and you go, you really have sympathy. You've now got a brand new podcast with Neville and Carragher. And I just think, you know, it's just not getting any better in the States, is it? I mean, I'm not massive fans in the sense. I do like them as players, but I don't think it's going to be rip-roaring educationally for the American audience, because one of my big issues with them across this podcast last year is that they toe the party line. They're not interested in fan opinion. They're not interested in fans. I mean, it was Gary Neville who basically ridiculed, was it Forest, when they put that statement out about the VAR. They don't say anything about VAR. They don't come out very rarely with things that are betterment of fans. I think most of their conversation and banter is like a poor man's Anton Deck. I mean, it's just they're not funny most of the time. And whilst it might come across a little bit bitter, I am bitter. No.
You've had 8 pints of bitter.
Seriously, I just think it's.
I like him.
I think if you like scripted, playing to the masses, let's have an argument about Rice or Rodri, you're laughing. But I don't think you're going to get real conversation from this type of podcast, and I think there's bloody loads of them. I think it's just safe, and I loved that Cristiano Ronaldo called out Lineker and Shearer. I mean, basically indirectly called them a couple of rats.
Yeah, the quotes were, do you want me to read it directly?
You better read the quotes in case people go, you've made that up.
What am I going to do? Am I going to cry and then finish my career because 2 rats criticised me? The world loves me. The fans love me. This is my motivation. Nobody is going to take my shine away because 2 guys from television that nobody knows have criticised me. Now, are you assuming it's Lineker and Shearer?
2 rats on the television?
It could be me and you.
Could be Carragher and Neville.
It could be me and you.
Who were not on the telly. I did think me and you, but then I thought we definitely have not been on the telly
together.
Do
you know what I think with Ronaldo?
You don't like Ronaldo. This is a great comment.
Yeah, but like, this is going classic Ronaldo. Look, I'm not bothered by it, but I can tell you exactly what they said, when they said it, who said it, and what they're going to do afterwards.
Reminds
it's like
me of someone.
Who? Don't maybe. Yeah.
I'm not bothered. But I'm not bothered about those 2 rats. But who nobody knows. You do. You've bloody commented on him. I love the drama of it. I mean, look, God, we get our knickers in a twist. We're all. This is life. Like, Ronaldo is clearly rattled by the fact that back in the Euros, when he cried, Shearer, Lineker and co ridiculed him. They did. I can't remember what they said.
Yeah, but I think even we were laughing when he was crying.
I said no. You laughed at it. You rat. But I think the fact, I just like the fact that Ronaldo's called him a couple of rats, because it's
a good insult.
It is a good insult, and I think he should respond to it, because his explanation of the cry, I still don't understand what he means. I think he said when you've scored so many penalties in a row and you miss one, you let yourself down, your family down, your fans down, and I was just really upset about it. And I was just like, I don't really understand that explanation, but he's got every right. I thought it, he's got every right to cry, and I don't think if people laugh at him, he's got every right to call him a couple of rats. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. Ronaldo's right, in my opinion, but I just like.
I'm not saying he's right and wrong.
I just like the fact that he's come out and called him a couple of rats, because I think they're a couple of prats. The way they treated Ten Hag after that FA Cup final, for me, that singularly is one of the most vile bits of television in the last 40 years. Because, you know, you've just won an FA Cup final, beating the best team in the world, in England, tactically better than them, and then you've got a couple of prats going, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your job. And I'm like, that is like a couple of playground bullies. And then they're doing it again with Ronaldo, laughing at him, crying, ha, ha, ha. You're rats.
But Ronaldo's thing's built on like mentality and this elite mentality and everything like that. Like maybe it is the Michael Jordan effect, isn't it? Like he constantly needs something to motivate him, whether it's like, and sometimes obviously this isn't made up, but I can imagine he just tells him stuff in the past to like motivate himself like Jordan did. So maybe it's just that innate thing of like, right, something needs to wind me up to get the best out of me.
Well, I think I saw. I mean, look, Ronaldo's always going to divide opinion. It's a great topic. I'm somebody that really likes Ronaldo, but even I would admit that Ronaldo has spoken some interesting things when he says the Saudi League's better than the French League 2 years ago, and it's not.
Well, you just lose all credibility.
Yeah, but also I think he does have to deal with a lot, and he's also one of the greatest sportsmen that has ever lived, and also he has to put up with a lot. And I think when he comes out and has a bite back, I find it quite interesting because I think too much about Ronaldo is about PR and brand, and you know, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to get down the gym and have a glass of water, and actually calling him out sometimes I thought it was quite interesting.
It is interesting, and it is good, and it is drama, and it is theatre, but like it's that classic thing of like, oh, I'm not bothered by it, but it's exactly what they said. So,
well, JP said here, thoughts on Goldstein saying that Ronaldo ruined legacy at United. I think Goldstein's an absolute twat.
Oh my God, Gary Neville's in the chat.
Yeah, I think Goldstein's an absolute prat, and that's from first-hand knowledge. I'd say don't meet your heroes, but describing him as a hero would be very, very over the top. But Ronaldo hasn't destroyed his legacy at Man United. What for? Because he did a Piers Morgan interview. You don't destroy your bloody legacy for that. That's absolutely ridiculous. And Simon Jordan actually said that Ronaldo's never said something important in his life. And I'm just like, I do think that he does have to put up with that. I'm not saying Ronaldo's right about everything. The Piers Morgan interview was a bad idea. But I just think, as somebody who has to put up with a lot, me and Ronaldo are quite similar. Joking. I think it's similar physique. I think similar physique and similar adulation and fans really. But no, on a serious note, Ronaldo has to put up with a hell of a lot, and you've got to be a bloody robot. You know, people say ignore it. You've got to be an absolute robot for things not to get through.
Oh, I can I don't know how you deal with it on a day-to-day basis, and like even the little bits that I've had, like I literally go in the mood for about an hour or two, just be like,
yeah. And I think when you've got, you've got someone like Simon Jordan saying he's never said anything important in his life, it's really another level of not bullying, but it's aggressive. It's demeaning. You're basically saying he's thick. That's what Simon Jordan's doing. He's saying he's never said anything important in his life. He's thick. Well, hold on a minute, Simon. You are a failed ex-chairman of Crystal Palace. This guy has done untold good in the world. It ain't perfect, but the legacy of Cristiano Ronaldo, even the legacy of the last 20 years and what he's done and the positivity he's brought to football and the rest of the world, and he's probably done a shitload of charity work, and then you're saying he's never said anything never said anything important in his life. Mate, actions speak louder than words.
Not for me with Ronaldo.
Yeah, so I think some of the disrespect goes too far. Yeah. And we live in a world where it's red and green and nothing in between. And Ronaldo can say some things that aren't right, but he's also done a lot of good as well. And I think people just hate on him too much. And when he calls out a couple of rats and then I'm all for it. Say it how it is.
I think you're painting a pretty picture there of Ronaldo that's not that pretty when you pull the bonnet up.
I also do think that in relation to what actually started this, another Neville podcast is probably a boring comment for everybody listening, but this is why, for me, last year I was doing a lot of things. Yes. And I spoke to you, didn't I? And I said, towards the end of the season, I said, this can't continue because I'm doing this, talking about this on a Saturday, this talking about this on a Monday twice, and I've got to do this on a Tuesday, and it's all to do with the same thing.
And you're live streaming.
And you're live streaming as well. And I'm like, bloody hell, it's like, it's not good for me and it's not good for anybody else. I'm just talking about the same things in a different bloody outfit. And I do think that there are a lot of people starting to do that. Like they're doing a lot of the same things more and more.
Yeah, that's why that needs to be like kept for America. But I do think it's a smart move. Like we spoke about it on and off air, isn't it? Like America is a market in terms of soccer that's not been, that's not been broken at all. And with the World Cup coming up, that's only going to boom over there. So in terms of a business strategy, I think it's smart. So we'd like to introduce our new podcast.
I'm massive in America.
Goldbridge Save Soccer.
Bigger than Mickey Mouse, apparently.
Wow, yeah, same here. Goldbridge Save Soccer coming to an American
You're
audience.
like Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, I'm Donald Duck.
No one knows who you are.
Absolutely.
Minnie Mouse. What was that all about?
But just I think it's a comment, a super chat on what we've just been talking about from Edward Joseph. He says, to be honest, Mark, as they left football left them. They are now suffering from burnout. Been a while since they started. Just an observation.
Cash grab.
I think that's
It's a cash grab. I mean, I can look. You know me, Will.
You love cash.
If and this is one of my problems with this anyway. I'm at peace with it now, but I have always made myself open to if I say something about Jordan or not Jordan Price.
Let's move on quickly.
Not her. Yeah. If I say something about Simon Jordan or Jamie Carragher or what, I'm open for them to have a conversation about it, and they have every right not to do it. But this is my big problem with it: is that it's like it's just a vacuum noise. There's no real accountability towards it, and it's a cash grab. Like I know.
But what's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. But the reason they're doing loads of podcasts, and the reason everybody's doing a podcast now, we've had Jeff Shreves, Martin Tyler, Martin Freeman,
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. Do they even like football? But there's so many of them now. It's
Morgan
because
Rogers.
everybody's trying to.
No, but I also.
And that's fine, but I just think silos of
Yeah, but
shit.
that's content though now. But what I think that this YouTube football space has not done a good job is like counteracted what's going on. Like there's some really good stuff in the football space, but I don't know, as a community, it's very fractured. So like when Neville and Lineker come in, it's like they've dominated the football YouTube space with 18 months, and there's so much good work that goes on. I don't know how.
There'll be a lot of jealousy towards Ronaldo,
Ronaldo?
Because he's done his YouTube channel.
Right,
There'll be a lot of jealousy. I haven't seen many people. I mean, obviously Rio's benefited from it massively, so he's going to bloody love it. But I think the rest of them, because they're on a cash grab, they'll be very, Ronaldo, look at him again. He doesn't need to do this. Oh, this, that, and the other. So that's why I think it's good, because I think Ronaldo does come across as a little bit PR safe. Like,
but that YouTube channel is very PR safe.
Oh, it's ridiculously PR safe, and that's why for me, I'm not really interested in what he says about Ten Hag. I'm not really bothered at all. What I'm interested in is, when he calls people a couple of rats, because I think, well, I've not heard that before. If he starts doing more of that, I'll start watching. I mean, to be honest with you, sitting there with Rio Ferdinand and talking about nicknames, and they're just laughing, going, "Ha ha, Shrek! Remember we used to call him Shrek? Ginger, we used to call Scholes Ginger." And I'm like, "Oh, great! This is great banter." And then he goes, "Those two rats," and I'm like, "This is great."
If he starts doing Rat of the Week and it has the same theme tune as Pratt of the Week, I'm going to be very suspicious.
Yeah. Anyway, Tottenham is winning it all this season, says Crash. We have got some other games to go through.
Yeah, we got the rest of the Super 6 ones, which we've not discussed so far. So we've done the headline
I like
ones.
ripping off like that, though.
Yeah, it's good. We can just do that. There was a comment earlier that said there was a super chat that we did miss, and it was Jasper said driving with Goldbridge is pure entertainment.
Oh, driving with Goldbridge, don't swerve that. 80,000 views. It's only been up a day, and I've not done it for ages. And I do it for therapy. It's like, it literally is get in a car and talk to yourself, but film it.
Make money
so
from
for
it.
me, I just think international break's been tough. There's been a bit of pile on unfairly over the last few weeks. And I just thought, I do football, but I do like doing other things. So I thought I'll go and record this. I'll throw it up. It doesn't matter how many views it got. Well, it got 80,000.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm like, it's one of the check it out on my channel. But talking about live, don't know whether I did say live. We have got our live show, which is a week on Monday. It's a very quick turnaround. We didn't know we were going to do it. Might be the only live show I do this year.
Really?
So it's in Birmingham. We've never done a show in Birmingham. It's on a Monday night, and it's a bloody good venue where you can play a bit of football yourself. So get your tickets. Links in the live chat. It's going to be quite an intimate affair. That doesn't mean we're stripping, but to be honest, if you throw a couple of fivers in the air. I think Will be down to his pants in second.
Don't do notes. Don't do coins. Sorry, do notes.
Bring your contactless.
Yeah, I'll have one strapped to my chest, and if you want to do that, you can beat me wherever you want to beat me. Tokyo, yeah. So link in the description for that. Click that. A week on Monday. There's no football on, so we can chat you through it. It'll be absolutely fantastic to see you there. It starts about 6:30, 7, and it'll end about 10:30. Also, Tokyo Racing says, Mark, you and Will sound like you two grew up together. Well, it would be different time periods because Mark, you're in the 80s. I'm a 90s child, but thank you. Someone says, no, yeah, that's fine. Live show coming up. Get your tickets, people. Thank you, Robert McCormack. Was there one thing we missed before we get into the other ones? Niall came up with this. An either or, Dominic Salanki or Kai Havertz, which we missed from the North London derby.
Oh, that's a good one, Noel. Salanki or Havertz? At the moment, it's got to be Havertz. I don't think there'd be any... You could go controversial and say Salanki just to do for clips. Salanki, 100%. Salanki would start for Man City ahead of Haaland. No, I think Havertz or Salanki. I'd go with Havertz because I think this is Salanki's 6 months' time. Let's revisit it for the next game because he's done it at Bournemouth, but Havertz did it at Leverkusen. Havertz has now established himself at Arsenal after a bit of a blip start, and he's a very important player for them. Solanke, this is a really exciting move, but we haven't seen what it's all about yet, so you can only judge him on scoring goals for Bournemouth, which he's very good at, but Havertz is doing it in the Champions League and in a title race, so obviously it's Havertz, but I do think that it's one where if you're a Spurs fan, you could be quietly confident that this may become more of a debate in 6 months' time.
Love that. Thank you, Mark. More on the Salanki Havertz chat.
What about this one then? Saka or Son?
Saka.
Oh. I think Saka or Son, it's a tough one.
I'm going Saka basically purely on a transfer basis. Or should we do it a one season?
I'm just saying, like, at their very best, forget age. It's not about that. It's about who is better, Saka or Son, right here, right now. I'm going to say, the great thing is you'd have both because they play on opposite wings. Absolutely love Saka, and I think he's in the world-class situation, as I said last season. But then Son is just because he plays for South Korea. If he played for Brazil, we'd say Son because he's fantastic and he plays for Spurs. You put Son in an Arsenal team and Saka, I don't think you split these. I don't think you can. I'm just going to go on Son because I'd prefer a Spurs player to an Arsenal player, but I love Saka and I love Son. And I think it ultimately is. I can't argue with it either way. I think they are so good, and at their best, it's hard to split them.
Very diplomatic from you today.
I know,
actually.
because I do like both players, and I really don't lean
the other way. Yeah.
Well, you do.
No. To be fair though, when it like the peak Son, I don't think, and I think Saka is maybe at those levels or can maybe surpass them, but Son's form hasn't been what it has been over the last 18 months compared to where it has been.
But how much of that is because he plays in a Spurs team?
Yeah, but
there's a lot of upheaval. There's a lot of expectation. I think the big problem with Son is that. With all due respect to Spurs, people always used to say it about Kane for years, and I always thought about Son. You know, you put Son in a City side, a Liverpool side, I think he'd have been perfect.
Yeah.
He becomes one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Nice chat about footballers.
What are Spurs doing this week? Oh, North London derby. We've done that.
Yeah, let's go through the remaining fixtures.
What are Arsenal and Spurs doing this weekend?
North London derby. Brighton versus Ipswich. I think you're doing a watch along for that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm very interested in this. Must be 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah, no. I was actually listening to a really good interview with
Brighton. Easy, won't it?
The more I see of this new Brighton manager, the more I like. I know he's 31 and that keeps getting labelled against him.
He's your age.
But it's just, I just think
into his DMs.
I think he just speaks really well.
Fancy a drink.
And I'm really excited to see what he does. So him against Kieran McKenna. If you're a hipster, that's going to melt your penis.
Yeah, well, you want to take him out for a drink.
He could be.
I just got you a Coke. There's a lot of vodka in this, Will.
Well, I've been saying a lot of negative things about Big Ange, which isn't like me. So this man could be the new person who will wash his car if he keeps playing his cards right.
I expect them to beat Ipswich, and if they do, 10 points from 12, they're going to be right up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't. I mean, I tell you what, if Ipswich gets something there, that'd be shock of the week.
Yeah. Liam Delap, obviously the 10th best Premier League striker.
Yeah.
We all saw that.
Go on then, move to the next one.
Crystal Palace versus Leicester City.
Crystal Palace against Leicester. I mean,
it's a good job you're not doing the 3 o'clock.
This is a tough
Tough wank.
Yeah, your words. It's got to get better.
Well, you want to relegate Leicester City, so obviously you're going for Crystal Palace.
I'd imagine Palace will win this quite.
I think everyone expected them to kick on from last season, but they haven't done so far. It's just where their season starts now. Fulham versus West Ham. I'll go. Fulham have looked quite good, actually, haven't they? West Ham have been a bit.
This is the brilliance of the Premier League, though. This one, I don't think this is a boring game, Fulham-West Ham. I think this is the sort of game where you go, Fulham are more than capable of winning games in the Premier League, and West Ham have bought really well. I think it's a tough one, and it's got a London element to it. So I would say, I think that could be a draw.
Score draw for that one. City, Liverpool, we've done. Villa, Everton's at 5:30.
It's got to be Villa.
Villa
are playing really well. Everton.
But Champions League starts Tuesday.
Deitch really is in a ditch.
Yeah.
He's dead in a ditch if he loses this one. 4 losses from 4. This is the sort of game where you go, oh yeah, Villa are going to win that, but yeah, they are going to win that.
And then we've also got on Sunday night Bournemouth Chelsea. We've spoke about. Saturday night we've done our predictions.
Wakefield.
4:30 Super Sunday. Wolves versus Newcastle.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite good for me though, because I'll say to Mrs. Goldbridge, right, I'm doing the North London derby. Let's have a late roast.
Nice. You got to do another show on Sunday night. You do.
I'll do the night stand later, but I'll have that early evening glass of red.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Get a little bit silly.
Beef roast.
Oh
yeah.
Let's get
Yorkshire puddings.
Nice bit of chill in the air at the moment, isn't it? Sunny but chill in the air.
Warm up again.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
stick to it.
Stick
to autumn. Stick to football. That's our new podcast.
Stick to autumn.
Stick to autumn. Just between the months of late September and Christmas, we talk about autumn.
Yeah. When's it right to get your big coat out?
When it cools down a bit.
No, that was part of the show.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move to some fixtures that we need to talk about because
you know what I think has died.
God.
Scarves.
Yeah, scarves.
Last Christmas I got bought a scarf, and
oh God, who bought you that? Niall.
They're dead now.
Yeah. Well,
Auntie Joan.
Thank God.
Auntie Joan. She bought me one of these nice scarves from John Lewis.
Dead beyond the eyes buying you a scarf.
I always check. Christmas morning between 11 and 12, whilst the kids are playing with the toys and the wife's doing the cooking because she loves it. I don't want to be seen as sexist. I go online and get all my presents on the table. I'm talking to Mrs. Goldbridge while she's. In fact, sometimes.
How nice of you.
Yeah, I'm sometimes doing the stuffing, and
what about the food?
I get all my presents on the table. Sometimes I have to get extender, and I Google how much people have paid.
Yeah.
And because of my detective days, I quite enjoy it because sometimes it's hard. You're just starting off with grey scarf, but then if you see John Lewis, if you've got John Lewis, you go
Paco Rabanne.
So I go there. This was a nice scarf, grey from John Lewis. Cost $39.99.
What's the material? Cashmere.
Half cashmere.
Oh,
yeah. Obviously, Auntie Joan was thinking about funeral costs, and
probably she could have done with it.
But I've never used it because even though Christmas is in December this year and last year, it was never cold enough to have a scarf. So I was just like, I remember I used to have a scarf all the time. It's global warming.
Well, it's quite ironic, wasn't it, that she gave you the scarf because she did get seen off by the winter.
Yeah, it wasn't actually. It was a fall, the dreaded fall.
Oh.
Old people and falls.
If you're wearing a scarf, she could have bounced back up. We've also got the EFL fixtures going forward. We actually got a big announcement to make again. But let's look at our teams. Sunderland, for me, first in the
Jack says, how rude is that? He actually does. The sarcasm doesn't travel. Look at me. I'm with it.
It might mean me.
Do you really think at Christmas I'm sat there with presents, Googling how much people have spent on me?
But that's the thing.
Do I look like the sort of person that would do that?
Do I have to answer that?
I'm down the pub, mate, as soon as it opens at like 11:30.
Okay.
Get in there early.
I just think that was a bit, but I could easily see you also doing that as well.
Yeah.
Sunderland top of the Championship. They go to Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle, who are absolutely having a stinking season. It's almost like I knew what I was talking about with Wayne Rooney. Sunderland playing Plymouth. Wayne Rooney needs a win. He won't get it. Terrible manager. Maybe he should stick to football.
I need a new Championship club. I'll stick with Coventry another week.
Yeah, we need to have a little thing. People have been putting suggestions in for Mark and a Championship club, but they have got Watford away, which we have spoken about a possibility
of a transfer.
Tom Cleverley is in charge and doing a very
Maybe
good
if
job.
Watford beat Coventry, I'll move to Watford.
Wow. Just when there's
Charlton drew last week because they did play in the international break, and
they've got Shrewsbury Town away this weekend, which they should win.
Yeah, I don't fancy Shrewsbury. A nice part of the world, but footballing wise,
Shrewsbury is a lovely part of the world.
Yeah.
Get yourself there. Lovely day out, Shrewsbury. Bromley versus Notts County.
Yeah,
They broke our hearts.
we watched that we watched Bromley get promoted.
Yeah. And Cheltenham have got Salford, so you'll probably be a Cheltenham fan that weekend.
Yeah.
To see them do. But we didn't mention Birmingham City because Monday we will be at St Andrews. Would you believe it? We're going to a game of football.
Wrexham.
I'll be there. It's Monday night football. There's no other football on in England in the top tier apart from this game, which is being touted as a big game on Monday. It should be absolutely fantastic.
It's on Sky, isn't it?
It's on Sky. Maybe Brady's there. McElhenney's there. Just off the thing, Rob McElhenney this morning has invested in classic football shirts.
Has he?
Yeah.
The thingy.
Yeah, with Morgan, the really famous American female footballer, and Stu Holden, who was a...
Look, we give a £100 voucher away in Super 6, so play it. Links in the description every week. But I did a video with Ellis, didn't I? Down there last year.
Love Ellis
and
Platten.
I've got a brilliant Zidane shirt for...
Not the one I wore, was it?
No. Did I give you that? Zidane? Yeah.
That one? The
black
Juventus one? Oh, is that that one?
No. It's a Real Madrid black.
Ah,
Zidane on the back, yeah.
Lovely
And
stuff.
I've got a Man United one as well. But you can get
Good
some
series,
classic shirts there.
Yeah, some
I think
classic
that's why
football
they've called it classic football shirts.
Yeah. But McElhenney's in
But
there.
do play, because you could be winning a £100 voucher for there. So he's invested in that.
So he's invested in that. So yeah,
Do you think that will ever sort of... My worry about classic football shirts is that I don't think that in 20 years... people will look at this last 10 years and go, oh, I want one of those.
No.
Because it's been dominated by Man City. Unless the Man City fan base goes up, I always think, as a Man United fan, the interest is going to be
but Man
from
United
99 to 2012, and those shirts will become less and less easy to get hold of.
No, I'll tell you why they will carry on, because one, I presume it's to do with the American market, which has not been cracked, and what we've just spoke about. Two, football for everyone. We're going to love it to the day we die, but there's always a prime period, isn't there? For me, everything this week about Barclaysman and everything like that, for a lot of people, it could be a certain period. And for that 10-year period, that's your nostalgia, isn't it? So everyone's going to have that. Some people it is now. Young Niall, only 15, he's absolutely loving it.
I don't wear mine. I've got them. I've got about 5 or 6. I've got Cantona in a blue. I've got Sharp View Cam for Cantona when he did the kick. I think that they're currency, actually. I think if you can get some good ones, they are currency. They become currency. They'll just go up in value.
The collection Ellis has got. Right, let's go through some of the... So if you're at St Andrews on Monday, come and say hello. Be great to see you. Monday, DK from Switzerland says, haven't been active for a while. Love the live streams with you guys so much. Don't like City or Liverpool, so I hope Arsenal win the league. Azealia is a member for 20 months. As a Will fan, wow. Any football challenges coming this season? Yes, coming very soon.
Watch that space.
We're just waiting to get those ones in the diary. And that was it, all up to date. Lovely stuff.
Super 6 code is that's 6. That's 6. Enter that. It's free to play. Don't forget, links in the live chat for the tickets. Get those before they're gone. A week on Monday, we will be in Birmingham for that. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the weekend, actually. Great to have football back. Actually, the positive about Man United, I like Saturday lunchtime when it's United. I just fear the result, because if it's a loss...
Friday's the worst. I hate them Friday night footballs. If you win, it's great, but
I'm not a big fan of Friday night football. I don't like Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I do like Monday night football, but the Friday night football, thank God we haven't got that. They normally put a shit game out for that, don't they? I don't think we've ever had a cracking Friday. You're never going to get an NLD.
No, but some of you remember when Brentford played Arsenal in either the first game
or the first game.
That was brilliant.
And Thomas Frank was hugging the fans.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Lovely guy. Anyway, thanks to everybody for tuning in as per usual. Absolute legends. We'll be back on Monday lunchtime with our Premier League review. What could we be talking about? VAR.
Ten Hag could be gone.
Arsenal in crisis.
Ange could
Ten
be gone.
Hag sacked. Or it could just be 10 draws and we're like...
Neville could have another podcast.
He probably has got one. I think
hopefully, because it will add to my song.
Apparently, his new one is called Autumn.
It's called Neville Saves Football.
Neville Saves Autumn. Neville Saves Scarves.
Nice, yeah. I'd listen to that.
I bet he has got a great scarf collection.
Better one than you.
Hey, Jamie, look at my new scarf.
Who was that?
I bet he's got a Burberry scarf.
Yeah, good on him. I like it.
Would you ever wear Burberry?
Not for me. Wouldn't suit me at all.
Very expensive.
All right, have you got one?
No, because there was too many fakes around. I do like the pattern of a Burberry, but I'd never wear it.
No. Yeah,
You got a Stony?
No, again, not the right market.
Very expensive.
I just grew a mullet and I said that's enough for me.
I like Stone Island stuff, but it's very expensive. What's the one Pep wears? CP. Again,
You've got some CP, haven't
they're
you?
very expensive, but again, it's a certain market.
It's like certain brands. My mates go, oh, I can't believe I got a T-shirt from that. I go, oh, that's mad. It's a white label on a black T-shirt. I've never seen that done before. Repeat, rinse, do again.
Leicester versus Forest is next Friday. Well, that's a good one. Some sense of a derby, East Midlands derby.
Cooper going back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you know? Interesting fact. I grew up in Nottingham, but I lived closer to Leicester.
Wow. So you're a Leicester City fan?
No, don't start all that shit. Thanks everyone for watching. You are legends, and we will speak to you on Monday. But got loads of content over the weekend. Obviously, I'm going to be on United Stand with the watch along tomorrow lunchtime.
You doing?
And I'm doing the North London derby at the moment. I might partake in one of the Saturdays, but
don't just relax.
I don't think I will.
It's the weekend.
Got United Stand. 8
Super
o'clock.
chat. Putting Van der Ven over Gabriel is woke nonsense.
Have a look at the definition of woke. I mean, I think if there's one there's one word just gets absolutely misused, it's that. I saw someone on the telly. No, it's fine. There was someone on the telly the other day talking about Labour and their pension cuts, and someone was going, "It's just woke nonsense." And it's like, yeah, you've got no idea what the word's about.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't.
No, we haven't.
And on that bombshell,
yeah, thank you.
Thanks everyone. Take care.